Hello, everybody out there. This is Juice, and you are here watching, listening, or whatever you want to call it, episode 6 of GPK Radio. Yes, a few people have mentioned, why is this a radio show if we watch the show? And clearly it wouldn't be a complete show without your visual video. So why is it radio? I don't know. Probably because it just seems like I'm just talking about things, and I, as an afterthought, figured the video would be better. So in my mind, it's a radio show because, you know, when you're doing a radio show, you gotta keep it going. You gotta keep the interest going. And you cannot rely on the video. The video, you can only hope, enhances the show. So yes, it's a radio show with a visual. There you go. All right, well, this show is going to be a very important show to me. As you know, listen, I was in the movie, The Garbage Pail Kids Movie. That's the official title, so it sounded weird how I said it. This movie, this is a special show for you. I'm going to review this movie tonight and give you the lowdown. Okay? Now, I'd like to get on the technical side before I review the movie. Just give you some little insider information. Alright, number 1. This is the first movie ever to be based on trading cards or stickers of any kind. The director was Rodney Amatu's last film. Some don't question that. It was this is the last film to ever feature Captain Manzini. John Carl Buechler was his name. He was the guy who directed and made Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. That was a terrible movie, but it's not his fault. You see, Friday the 13th Part 7 was really great when it came to John Carl Buechler. He made Jason look amazing, and he made the visuals really good, but it was just a bad written movie, so it wasn't really a good movie. But check this out. He was considered to direct this movie, and his version of the story was going to be a straight-up horror film in which the Garbage Pail Kids would have spawned from some radioactive sludge that found its way to a garbage can filled with broken dolls, and it would turn them into serial killers. Can you imagine that? The Garbage Pail Kids movie, had it been in John Carl Buechler's hands, would have been a movie about serial killers. It would have been the Garbage Pail Kids killing people. Now, a lot of people would, put both their hands up and balance out, and say, well, you sew clothes or you kill people. I'll say killing people. Well, as you all know, Rodney Amatu's last film was The Garbage Pail Kids, because I just said that. And so clearly John Carl Buechler did not get the job, and they're sewing clothes. With that said, let's go to Wikipedia, and we're going to go to some facts. I'm going to go to the reception section. And The Garbage Pail Kids is considered one of the worst films ever made. It has a 0 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning that no established critic gave the movie a positive review. It's also ranked among IMDb's bottom 100 movies, suggesting that it's one of the worst movies ever released. As you can see, this is not going well. Well, hey, listen, don't worry, guys. For all the fans of this movie, I'm going to turn shit around. You just keep watching. Listening to the radio show. Carl James of the New York Times, or Karen, said the movie is too repulsive for children or adults of any age, and that this crude live-action takeoff of Cabbage Patch phenomenon ought to have star Anthony Newley humming "Stop the movie, I want to get off." Well, guess what? No, Captain Manzini stayed to the freaking end because he believed in this product, which I do too. The movie has also been accused of being technically incompetent. Much of its content is said to be inappropriate for children, its target audience. That's true. In addition, the scatological behavior, This film has several scenes that feature sexual images, including several provocative scenes with the then 15-year-old Katie Barbary. They must mean when she crossed her legs and we saw up her skirt. Oh gee, how can that happen? Hey listen, don't look at my girlfriend too long. I'm going to tell you that later on too, when we get to that part. Violence and drinking. A campaign by offended parents successfully resulted in advertising for the movie being withdrawn from television. Can you believe that? This film failed at the box office, grossing only $1,576,000 because there was no commercials. Of course it failed. Parents. I'm 32 now. And I could be a parent. I could have been a parent for 10 years. And do you think I would really campaign? What kind of people do this? What kind of people do this? I don't care what's out there. If I don't want my kid to look at it or have it, they won't. This is absurd. I'm sorry, guys. Listen, I'm not angry. And you're going to have a really fun show. Listen, when I review the movie, I'm not going to be joking around. There's not going to be the typical humor you'd find in this show. I'm just going to give you a straight-up review, okay? Because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to tell you why the movie's really not that bad. It's really good if you love Garbage Pail Kids. If you don't, maybe you won't get it. You know what I mean? I'm sure you won't. It'll just be another fall by the wayside kind of thing, but if you love Garbage Pail Kids, you have to connect. And I'm not saying that if you didn't, then you're not a real fan. But hopefully this show can maybe turn you around a little bit if you don't like it. So, I'm going to review the movie. Period. That's what this show is all about. We're not going to talk about Series 7 Garbage Pail Kids as per usual show. It's time to review the movie. Alright? So, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and do this. The Nostalgia Critic, who I love, has done this already. But he did it from the typical non-huge Garbage Pail Kid fan point of view. I'm going the other route. Enjoy. Okay guys, here it is. It's now time for me to do the show that most people expected would come sooner or later. The Garbage Pail Kid Movie review from none other than Juice himself. Now people have said to me, why do you like this movie so much? I hate this movie, it's terrible. What a cheap way for Topps to try to cash in on the Garbage Pail Kid phenomena. They dumped on the fans because they didn't even try with this movie. Well, I have a different point of view, and I will share that tonight. You see, I was in this movie, so right there, it's special to me. Once they released what they taped over those few weeks, I got myself a copy. So since 1988 or so, I have seen this movie about once or more times a year. No less than once. That's 23 years of watching this movie, guys. The funny part is, it didn't even grow on me. I liked it since day one. Could they have videotaped the Garbage Pail Kids doing something better than making clothes for my girlfriend Tangerine? Yeah, maybe. But that was the moment in time that was captured on film. Maybe there could have been a few sequels and they could have taped them doing something else the next time around. Either way, I'm going to give you the top 10 best reasons that this movie kicks ass. I'm going to also see the other side of the coin and give you the 5 worst moments of this movie as well. Because I know that not every single scene is a gem. Okay, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you 5 good reasons to watch the movie, then I'll throw in 5 in a row bad, if I could find 5, and then I'll throw in the next 5. That way it's evened out and the show doesn't end with a whimper and you thinking you shouldn't watch. The opening chase scene with Dodger, Tangerine, Blythe, and myself. Oh yeah, and Wally. Just a classic scene. What's not to love about that scene? Great music, great atmosphere. I got my gang basically chasing a 14-year-old boy in the park publicly, and nobody does anything about it. That's just wrong. And that's what's so good. In the next great scene, we got Tangerine going to Captain Manzini's window. Dodger lures her in, has her look at some crap, and then, trying to do something nice, give Tangerine a free item, he touches my woman. Well, of course, panic ensues. I gotta teach the little creep a lesson. It's a matter of principle. Pretty much ends up with him making an embarrassment out of my gang and me strapping him to a sewer pipe while Blythe turns on the raw sewage. And he sits there and festers like the carcass of some roadkill.
See you later, creep.
Dodger helps Tangerine sell her clothes at the club. Another great scene, especially when I pull up with my buddies and Dodger has to hide in a duffel bag. That scene got some boob action too. But don't you look at my woman too long, or I'm gonna have to teach you a lesson. I like the fans, but it's a matter of principle. Boy, that little creep's lucky I didn't see him that night.
Don't try to take my life. I may be small in the universe, but here on earth.
Alright, this scene falls into this is just wrong category. The Garbage Pail Kids steal sewing materials from a sweatshop. I mean, look at the big picture here. They're breaking and entering, committing an act of burglary, all while singing a children's song. Now, I heard a lot of people say how stupid and annoying the song is, but come on, it's really good for being in a movie that's so bad, isn't it? I mean, this sounds like a legit children's song to me. When you were a kid, did you really hate it? Garbage Pail Kids Night Out, the movies and a bar. The movie scene was so great because they break into the movie theater and then steal from people who paid to get in to watch the movie. They even steal food at knife point. You got a classic messy Tessie scene of her sneezing popcorn all over everyone, and while this is going on, Alligator bites the toes off of a biker from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They all hold him at knife point, and Winnie Winston somehow drives through a window that was 5 feet off the ground and beats the shit out of some of the bikers. Then, they all begin to get along, get drunk together, and safely drop them off.
Thanks, guys, for bringing them home. What a bad alligator!
The Garbage Pail Kids pranks. Now, I know a lot of you thought this was really great, but I didn't find it very funny. Here I am minding my own business, trying to drop a deuce, and these little bastards turn on some knobs that send me 6 feet in the air with sewer water. They also pump that crap into my gang's hot tub. Wally didn't like it, but Blythe seemed to enjoy it.
No.
Oh, yeah.
The State Home for the Ugly. Now this really tops off the this is just wrong category. The movie is exactly what the cards were. Don't you see that? A children's product that children really shouldn't have, and parents hated that they did have. Only in a Garbage Pail Kid movie would there be an institution that locks people up for being too fat, ugly, short, hairy, silly, gross, etc., and then kills them in a garbage compactor if they're there for too long. Not only that, but the ones who don't get killed that way get tortured and experimented on by the mad, sadistic doctors working there.
I'm sure glad I got transferred out of that laboratory.
Did you, see any experiments?
Oh, yeah. Those doctors, they like to hurt people.
Have you got any more?
Oh, some. Why?
Well, I was just thinking maybe I could sell them for you. You know, along with mine.
The scenes where Tangerine seduces Dodger in order to make some money off of his clothes.
You know that jacket?
Crotch shot. Again, don't look at my woman for too long. Then she abandons my principles for money even further by coming on to him. Now I know Tangerine looked older, but in reality, she was only 1 year and 4 months older than Dodger. So it doesn't fall under the this is just wrong category due to their closeness in age. He was 14 and she was 15. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. Okay, after the great scene where we chase Dodger around in the park, Dodger comes home. I mean, I guess there's no evidence where this guy lives in any level, but he goes home to Captain Manzini's shop and gets his clothes washed and talks to Captain Manzini for a little while. It's a pretty slow scene, and I imagine most kids didn't have the attention span for such scenes. The only part of this scene that really needed to be there were the 2 references to the garbage pail. Other than that, it was just really just character development. I always enjoyed this scene, but today, after seeing it 40 times already, I just forward through it.
That's it, let's eat.
That sounds good to me.
It's pig out time.
Yay.
We don't have any money.
Oh.
Hey, no problem. We'll carve out an IOU.
Now, the night when the kids rip off the Pepsi truck and have a little bonfire and chill is a scene that a lot of people think is pointless. But I love it. They run over my car on the way back from stealing the Pepsi truck, but I got car insurance and I got over it. To me, when I watch them, I'm just sitting there chilling with them. It's just more time being spent with them as a viewer. So when bad things happen later in the movie, we care more.
They made the clothes.
Sort of.
Oops, sorry, Dodge.
Show me.
Even when they're just sitting there to cheesy 80s music and sewing clothes, I was perfectly fine watching it. This is the one key plot that Garbage Pail Kid fans hate about this movie, but in the realm of the movie, it just makes sense. I mean, you could always wish that it was different, but when you're there in the moment, it's just what it is, and I'm content with that. I guess the one scene where they're looking for something to do and Messy Tessie breaks the TV would be boring to some people. But again, I'm just in the moment and observing what's going on and don't really dislike anything.
Stand back, everybody. Now it works. Now you broke it.
I'm not nerd.
Not nerd was the major fault in this movie. The pissing gags were really just not needed and stupid. Not enjoyable on any level. I didn't even think it was enjoyable when I was younger. I was just waiting for the next thing to happen, I guess. The fashion show, a great scene in the movie. You really get into the head of Tangerine here. You see how a little bit of success went to her head. She was quickly losing grip of reality and would step on anyone to get where she wanted to be. After the Garbage Pail Kids get free from the Stay Home from the Ugly, I mean, I could care less that they got free. I already got my money. But so they go and they trash the fashion show. And then we all got into it. It eventually ends with a big fight between Dodger and myself. Now, I just want to go on record and point out that, yeah, when Foul Phil threw Dodger on top of me, it knocks the wind out of me. I also hit my head and I was dizzy for about the next 6 or 7 minutes. But as you can see, when Dodger was punching me in the face, it had no effect on me. I just kept turning back for another one. Just to show him he was nothing. Like, remember in Rocky 3, he was like, you ain't so bad with Clubber Lang. That's what I was pretty much doing. I let him get off me and just leave because I already was on probation and didn't need something like this getting me locked up again. Honestly, guys, I love this movie. Much like I hope this show is to you, this is just another legitimate extension of the cards that I enjoy. I think it was so cool that those little freaks came into my life and it was all videotaped. I know a lot of you have the cards, but not many of you had the privilege of interacting like I did with them. So remember, guys, take the movie for what it is. It's a movie about Garbage Pail Kids. How good did you think it would be? Because I could think of a kick-ass CGI movie for today's generation of collectors.
I know you thought I was that broke like that you saw, but we don't look the same.
GPKUG.com for the very best in Garbage Pail Kid discussion. GPK World, Baron Aaron's Garbage Pail Kid World. GEEPEEKAY.com. K4FGloves.com for the very best Freddy Krueger or Slasher Asher replica gloves. Crystal Lake After Dark.proboards.com for the very best in Friday the 13th discussion since 2004. Garbage Pail Kids Radio on Facebook. Join tonight for all the news on every show.